Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. And Ed, thank you so much. Senator, Congressman Gabanki, thank you so much. I just want to tell you what a great day we had today. We kind of staged our announcement. Of course, press, in their normal pattern, they find a way to find things out. So they kind of preempted my announcement by 2 or 3 days. Then call in and find out, next thing you know, everything's in the paper. But we staged this a while back. Because if you go to Black River Falls and you go down Main Street, every other business, it seems, the storefront has a for sale by owner, the windows are bare, for rent. That's pretty telling. And it just so happens that on both sides of my opponent's office, we had empty storefronts with for sale signs there. So I thought, you know, this would make a magnificent backdrop for a campaign opening. So we just gathered on the street right out in front of his office and had kind of a meeting. And I preached a little bit. But we had some wonderful people turn out to be with us out there in that frigid weather. Broke records. It was 14 below, I believe, up there in Black River Falls this morning. And some dear people came out and stood with me out there. I walked the streets on both sides, up and down Main Street, from the river to the top of the hill of the church and back down before we did the announcement. Got great response. I am serious. I got great response, and that's very encouraging. So they only had one negative response, and that was in a barber shop, and I couldn't tell if it was because the guy was getting his hair cut or he wished he could be doing something or somewhere else, but he was just, no, I'm not interested. And I said, great, good thing y'all are doing this inside because it's cold out there. But it went really well, and we had a little talk there on the street, and I want to impart some of that to you. You know, like you, I have sat back for many years, and I have watched, as you have, with amazement and disillusionment and frustration at what's happening in our government at the state level and the federal level. And it's like government grows and grows and grows, and there's no end to the growth in bureaucracy and state agencies, which means there's no end to the growth in tax and regulation and fees. And I decided, once my frustration level reached its peak, that it was time to do something. And many of you in here in this room were with us in this ordeal. We established and formed a committee over in Sparta one afternoon. Monroe County Taxpayers Relief Committee, somebody probably heard of it. And the reason we did that, it wasn't because we just didn't like the way somebody parted their hair. It wasn't a personality issue. What it was about is that we had tried to go before the county board time and again to express our opinion and ask them for relief on a measure that they wanted to pursue, and they weren't having it. They weren't going to listen to us. We asked them for a referendum. If you don't believe us, have a referendum and let the people tell you. They weren't having it. In fact, one former supervisor said he was tired of talk about referendums and tired of studies and feasibility studies, and today he's watching from the bleachers.
Right. We had a referendum.
We had the referendum, that's exactly right. And now it's time for another one. It is time for us to realize that we can no longer placate the actions of an irresponsible, unresponsive legislature who intends to push a party agenda down our throats, driving businesses out of this state and causing jobs to leave this state. We can't tolerate it any longer. It's time to take a stand. I had a meeting with the membership, the leadership of the Republican Party. A delegation came up and met with Barbara and I. And I told them, they were very interested at the conclusion of the outcome of the recall election for the board. They were very interested in me as a candidate for state assembly. And I told them, I said, well, guys, we need to have an understanding right off the bat. I was retired and I was enjoying it. I served in the military. I did what I needed to do, my part, along with so many good people. We did what we needed to do, and I've done my service. But if you're interested in this proposition, I want to know where you stand. But you need to know something from me on the front end. I'm not a puppet on a string. I don't dance for some party hierarchy or some party boss. If I go down there, I'll represent the people. They were kind of taken back for a second, and I said, that doesn't mean that I'm going to contest everything you want to do and I'm going to be a renegade loose cannon. What I'm telling you is don't expect me to stand up on the floor or push the button and vote for you simply because we're on the same side of the aisle. I said, I'm going to vote the issue the way my people think we need to vote that issue. Yes. So that's the way we're going to do business when I go down to the legislature. I intend, as I said earlier, not to go down there and warm a seat. You can count on it. The rafters are going to ring. They're going to know from Superior to Beloit that western Wisconsin is not going to be taken advantage of any longer. All the money's not going to Dane County and to Milwaukee and Kenosha. We are citizens in this state. We have our right, and we've got our feet at the table, and you are going to listen to us. Again, I thank you all so much for coming out. This is going to be a long, hard fight. Count on it. Dan's absolutely right. They are going to come in here. My seat has been ranked as the third highest priority in the statewide assembly races. They're going to load up and come after us. Now, I realize it's early and it's a long time to November. We just have to establish the momentum and maintain it. We don't go away. We just continue to grow, quietly grow. We need everybody's help, and everybody can help. Everybody can do just a little bit, and that's what it's all about. That's what made this country great. Everybody doing their part. So we all do just a little bit and understand the goal, the mission. The mission is to go down to Madison and straighten this thing out and right this ship and get us on a course toward prosperity and not failure and bankruptcy. And you have to understand the urgency. You have to understand the urgency because this is critical. This may be the most critical election you will ever vote or ever have voted in your life. Dan is not mistaken when he said the word socialism. There is a movement underfoot. If we don't stand our ground and stand fast, we stand to lose our rights. They're taking a piece by piece and shoveling it right down our throat, and we're just kind of marching to the drum and like, oh, well, they're not really going to do that. That's what we said about the county board with that Justice Center. Well, they're not going to do that. Surely they're not going to do it. They know better than that. People, we have to stand our ground, so we've got to work together. It's a team effort. You know, I'm serious as a heart attack. I wanted to be retired. Barbara said, you have to have a job, even if you have to be a legislator. So I got to go get a job. But we all need to work hard together in this. We're all in this together. We're all in the same boat. We sink or swim with this election. So thank you again for coming out. I'm looking forward to seeing you all through the summer and the spring, summer, and into the fall. In November, we're going to have a great party on election night. And before we're done, I want to introduce a couple of people to you. First and foremost, the guy I call every morning, our treasurer in the campaign, David Taylor. David?
I've known Dennis